Let me start by asking you a question. Why do you play video games? Oh, I know, it may sound like a stupid question at first, but this question has become more and more relevant over the years. Video games are not just a means to have fun while pressing a few buttons anymore. Today, they can create rich narratives, complex challenges, immersive exploration, and provide tear-inducing emotions. This is not that type of game. But don't get me wrong, that is not a bad thing. With so many different types of games, people play for different reasons. Whether it is to experience a mind-bending story, to be around amazing characters, to explore otherworldly locations, to test their skills and reflexes, or to just have a blast while blasting enemies, each of us has a distinct set of connections to a certain game. Playing games back in the early 2010s was very different from what it is today. That was a time in which more and more games were shifting from a pure gameplay-centered approach to a wide array of expressions that could form a diverse experience. But still, every once in a while, a new game emerges to bring back what made us fall in love with games in the first place: the fun. Bulletstorm is a game that tries to accomplish merging a lot of fun with a little bit of narrative. Does it succeed? Well, we're gonna find out. To make things easier, I'll divide this video into sections according to the main campaign progression. Timestamps are below if you need. There is also a multiplayer mode, but have you seen the name of this channel? Need I say more? Okay, thank you. That said, there will be spoilers for the entire game, including its ending, so I recommend you play the game first. Now, if you really don't care about spoilers or if you have already played, then let's get into it. There's a lot to talk about, so without further ado, you're watching the single-player guy talk about Bulletstorm. Grab a snack and something to drink, lay back and prepare to dive. To understand where the game comes from, as well as some of its controversial decisions, we must first understand its development process. Bulletstorm was developed by People Can Fly in partnership with Epic Games and published by EA. Some of the development was also outsourced to smaller studios. People Can Fly is a Polish studio that had previously developed Painkiller, a cult classic released in 2004. And that would turn out to impress EA enough for them to release Bulletstorm under its EA Partners program. The studio was also the developer of the original Gears of War released in 2007. Development on Bulletstorm began a few months before the release of Gears of War. During production, the team was comprised of about 70 people from PCF plus Epic Games, which had acquired a majority stake in the studio 3 months after development started. The game was released almost 4 years after that in 2011, and it was the studio's first AAA game. This is the moment in which I start to butcher some Polish pronunciations, so I'm sorry in advance. The initial concept was developed by Gears of War creator Cliff Bleszinski, who also designed the Unreal Tournament series, and was initially supposed to be a cover-based third-person shooter just like Gears, but further down the line, the devs noticed that it wouldn't work so well, and shifted into first-person cover-based. Later on, the cover system was ditched in spite of a more aggressive approach. The game was written by Rick Remender, who also wrote Dead Space as well as several comics, including some of X-Men, Deadpool, Punisher, and Captain America. The director was Adrian Schmillers, who was project leader and lead game designer on Painkiller, and additional level designer on Gears of War. So, the project was led by seasoned professionals who knew what they were doing. But despite all that, Bulletstorm was not without its flaws, as we're gonna see. One interesting thing is that originally, the studio did not plan for the game to have any unique gameplay features or ambitions. They just wanted to, quote, offer a fun high adventure. However, they ultimately decided to include two aspects that would turn out to be the core of what we know Bulletstorm for nowadays. First, the slide mechanic that was inspired by Mega Man, and second, the leash that was inspired by Scorpion's Spear in the Mortal Kombat series. During internal tests, the team realized that, quote, people were playing with their enemies like a cat plays with a mouse before he takes it out. This led to the creation of skill shots, which aimed to reward players' creativity. Blazinski went as far as describing the game as the burnout of shooters, citing Duke Nukem, Firefly, and Serenity as inspirations. A remaster of the game titled the Full Clip Edition was released in 2017 for the PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One, and later in 2019 for the Nintendo Switch, titled Duke of Switch Edition. A VR version was also released in 2024. The pre-order version of the remaster even came with a Duke Nukem DLC that allowed you to play as Duke Nukem with complete voiceover by John St. John, the voice actor of Duke Nukem himself. Sadly, this DLC was pre-order only, so even though the version I played for this video was the full clip edition on Steam, I don't have access to the Duke Nukem DLC. The game was well received for its gameplay and setting, selling around 300,000 copies on release, and has been described as, quote, sometimes ludicrous and often ludicrously fun. The skill shot and the leash mechanics were the highlights, while the overuse of strong language was the main critic. By the way, it is worth mentioning that it was actually heavily criticized for the use of strong language, even being called cringeworthy, and despite having sold just under 1 million copies by 2013, EA said the game underperformed, to which Schmillers initially blamed EA's own marketing campaign, which reduced, quote, fresh ideas to dick jokes for dude bros. And yes, as you will see, the dick jokes are everywhere. It doesn't bother me, but for the purposes of this video, I can't ignore how this game really seems to target the average dude bro as the primary audience. Just something to keep in mind. Funnily enough, a game which attracts a lot of obnoxiously entitled and often prejudiced or narrow-minded straight males, well, that was a mouthful, is being reviewed by a gay man. Well, suck it up, homophobes, cause I like first-person shooters, so here we go. The game takes place in the 26th century and begins with a ship called the Spectre coming into view in outer space, outside Confederate jurisdiction. The universe is currently run by the Confederation of Planets. Inside the ship, a bounty hunter is tied to a chair being questioned by Grayson Hunt, our player character, and Rel Julian, a crew member. Gray is drinking and Rel hands over a rifle saying he keeps the sight a few inches left of target and tells Gray to challenge himself. They question the guy about the bounty on their heads, which is $500 million each, and the marker was put by someone named Serrano. Despite allegedly having told them everything he knows, Gray says that he did try to kill them beforehand, so they just can't let him go easily. A series of QuickTime events teaches us a few basic controls while asking us to shoot a bottle atop the guy's head and then kick him out through the airlock. But turns out, somehow, even while freezing to death and suffocating and with his hands tied behind his back, the guy had enough time and focus to set up a hand bomb and break the window. This sends Gray and Rel flying almost through it, and another set of QuickTime events has us closing the lock on the window. Rel was supposed to search the bounty hunter beforehand, but I guess he wasn't in his full mental capacity.
Fuck! Is it just any old thing you touch crumbles into dog shit?
Your mom survived. Barely.
3 minutes into the game and this is our third sex joke. I didn't even bother speaking about the first two. Grayson and Rel make their way through the rubble and they find the door stuck with Dr. Whit Oliver, the, well, Doc of the crew on the other side. And of course the solution is to shoot the console. Why not? It always is. We hear a voice telling the crew that they are warping through space and there's some serious trouble, so they make their way back to the bridge ASAP. I don't know why I did that. Anyway, we find out that Grayson is, of course, the captain of the ship. Ishii Sato, the fourth and last member of our crew, tells us he was following leads on Confederate supply ships and ended up right in front of the Ulysses, which is General Serrano's ship, the guy who put a bounty on their heads ship. Which apparently is just what Grayson wanted, cause instead of getting the hell out of there, I mean, look at the size of that ship, he decides to, quote, open communications. An important side note, before opening fire, Ishii confronts Grayson about being drunk, saying they wouldn't last 15 seconds out there. But Grayson calls Serrano a mass murderer and apparently they are out for reparation. Ishii insists that despite Gray's recklessness, he honors his oath to serve him, but he's not gonna die for Grayson's revenge.
Our revenge.
Okay, let's take some time to get something straight. There's not a lot of characters in this game, and the few there are have little to no development at all. But Grayson's relationship with Ishii is a highlight for me, and by far the best relationship development the game has. Not that it has that many great development of relationships, this is what it just said. So try to remember this moment, cause it'll become important down the line. We get into a space shooter minigame that is really fun but ends really quickly. Also, the recoil and the movement in the vacuum of space is somewhat awkward, so it's very difficult to maintain our aim over the target. Still, the spectacle made it more fun than it should have been. And as you see, this game is all about the spectacle, baby. Sadly, this is the only time we'll get to shoot stuff in space in the whole game. If they made this section a little longer or put more of it throughout the game, it would be so much more memorable. But I literally forgot about this until my second playthrough, which is the one I recorded for this video. After it's over, Ishii gets injured. Thinking their fate was sealed, Gray decides to plunge the ship into the Ulysses in an attempt to take General Serrano with them. That's a bold decision to make with your own crew's lives at stake. After that, the ship crashes into a nearby planet called Stygia, and the screen whites out. Suddenly, we are shown a flashback 10 years prior. Grayson and his crew are on top of a huge city, except they're actually on the side of a building, walking with gravity boots. This transition is awesome. Not gonna lie, for a 2011 game, this is fascinating. The spectacle is real. Anyway, as they make their way down, we learn that they're there to kill a separatist criminal named Bryce Novak. Once inside the building, they come in guns blazing and kill Novak. Ishii, however, hacks his computer and finds out that the man was actually a reporter, not a criminal. This being my second playthrough, I tried not to shoot Novak when the QuickTime event appeared just to see what would happen, but regardless, Grayson just shoots him anyway. The crew then gets Serrano on the line to question him about their targets, and Serrano tells them he did lie. Their squad, named Dead Echo, was out on a killing spree to take down the general's opposition, and Novak held incriminating evidence against Grayson and his crew. Basically, they were cleaning their own mess with even more mess for Serrano. Not knowing this and obviously not agreeing to it, Grayson declares war on Serrano by, well...
I am gonna kill you!
Hey, man! What the fuck? That was a giant group decision you just made for us.
Oh my, didn't think about that, did you? They hear someone breaking into the nearby rooms and Ishii takes point, only to find a little girl outside the office. He stays with her as the office is bombarded by enemies and the rest of the crew fights them off. This is our very first real gunfight in the game. The general shooting in this game feels okay. It's not the best, but definitely not the worst I've seen. I swear the newer games sometimes have way worse shooting than this. In the beginning, all we have is an assault rifle, a kick, and a red barrel to blow up. After that, Grayson saves Ishii from a very close shot, while Rel tells the girl to run to the elevator and to the cops. The screen whites out again and we're back in the Spectre, or what's left of it. And wouldn't you know, everyone survived the crash from outer space. This crash. Don't you just love video game logic? We wake up to Rel saying that Ishii is, however, dying from his severe wounds. Doc tells them to get Ishii to the infirmary.
That thing's hanging by a thread.
Are you talking about the elevator or that arm? Jesus! Gray asks Doc to use a technology that he has previously used to replace fingers and limbs on the field, some type of cyber tech. But Doc says half of Ishii's body is crushed. Gray tells him to try anyway, as this is their only chance to save him. Doc says he needs a charged fusion cell to power the bioweld, whatever that means, and Grayson takes Rel with him to get the thing from the escape pods that just fell close by from the Ulysses. We shoot a few enemies on the way and get to kick them into live wires to take their X-ray exams. As we'll see, this game has a lot of environmental interactions that let us do this kind of stuff. Noise. When we kick or slide into an enemy, we send them flying in slow motion, which allows us to get some easy headshots in or to crush them against a spiky wall or something. I've had a few issues with environmental collision while trying to do this though. While we're making our way downtown, we see the Ulysses passing overhead on its way to a crash landing. And then we're presented to the main character of the game, the leash. Immediately I thought, well, we're gonna have our first real challenge here against this guy. Never mind. The leash is a gadget that lets us pull things and enemies towards us, and it's very useful. In fact, I'd say 80% of all the combat I had in both my playthroughs was using the leash. After we get it, it's impossible to let go of it. It's just so addictive and fun. Pulling enemies through debris, out of their cover, down from above, and all other possibilities. It makes us feel like we own everything. Just like kicking and sliding, enemies enter slow-mo when we leash them, and we can also chain a leash pull with a kick or a slide, making for fun combinations and giving us more control over the battlefield. The leash is the start of the show. Anyway, we find the power cell we came for and make our way back to Ishii while doing a lot of the stuff I just talked about. Once there, Rel plugs the power cell and Doc starts working while we stand outside. Unfortunately, enemies break into the surgery room from the ceiling and kill Doc just as he finishes his job. We defend our position for as long as we can until there's an explosion and the screen blacks out. When we come to our senses, Rel is being bullied with bullets, and then Ishii's hand grabs us, dragging us back. While the enemies are distracted by us, Rel asks us to shoot a red barrel he is holding, and just like that, the second member of our crew is dead. We wake up outside with Ishii asking for help. He's in pain and has a massive scar on his face, plus the glowy eye, which is cute. And well, I think it's better you see for yourselves what's going on here.
Listen to me, Ishii, okay? Well, you've been injured in the attack. Doc had to patch your brain with the robot's bioprocessor. You're gonna have trouble getting used to it, but it's like an amputation. I'm gonna help you, okay?
You are going to help me. I am having a difficult difficult time seeing how you can help me. Your drunken thirst for revenge just killed our crew.
I'm sorry.
You're sorry. You're sorry?
Ishi, listen to me. The bioprocessor. You can't let it take control. You just can't let that happen.
I'm going to kill you, Gray. I see no logical reason not to. That is a final Echo instinct leash.
Yeah. So what?
The communication line. Open it. Mute the mic.
Luckily, a signal coming from Gray's leash interrupts him. It's someone named Trishka. She speaks to General Serrano and informs that she's going towards him to protect him until a jump ship arrives to take them home. Ishi says we can take this opportunity to escape as well, and that killing the general would be counterproductive. Plus,
The battery cell within this warbot is low. If I do not charge it within 30 minutes, I will die.
Gray promises to take Ishi off-world and to fix him up, and Ishi says he's gonna follow Gray this one last time. This is a good moment to talk about the environments in the game. Bulletstorm has a lot of different, I wanna say biomes, but, well, structures and urban areas. Every level is quite unique, and almost none of them will look the same. There's also some environmental storytelling if we pay attention, which is a nice touch. The presentation is, for a 2011 game, outstanding in its own right, and the remaster makes things pop even more. Very few games had this level of detail back then. Also, I was surprised to be genuinely amazed by a few sites. It's like essayists say, art direction is more important than fancy graphics. Wow, now I'm a true essayist. And this game's art direction rules. There are caves, deserts, buildings, ships, dam, and even a futuristic whatever the hell this is. So when I found myself in this rocky mountain covered by gigantic remains, I knew this game was something I'd enjoy very much. And I was right. Here, we're introduced to the drop kit and to skill shots. This is a mechanic that allows us to earn points for creative takedowns. There's a list with both known and unknown hidden skill shots to discover, each rewarding a different amount of points. Using those points at a drop kit, we can buy ammo, upgrade capacity, unlock, upgrade and buy charged shots for our guns, unlock new guns once we've found them in the world at least once, and unlock the Thumper, which is an ability for the leash we're gonna get further down the line. Killing enemies with headshots on the environment, with explosions, or a bunch of other ways awards more points. And from here onwards, the game incentivizes us to experiment and discover new skill shots. Also, each skill shot has a pretty interesting name. It had me nodding at my screen at least and straight up gasping for air at best. We follow the path and kick some enemies into cacti until reaching the refinery. Inside, we're faced by a lot of enemies at once. Ishi got in the way and totally threw me off here, then I died. The AI in this game can cause some trouble with that. They're mostly helpful, drawing enemy aggression and dividing the battlefield, but sometimes they're a pain in the ass. Luckily, checkpoints are constant, so we never lose too much progress. Ishi says the place is filled with radiation and they won't survive if they stay for long. And he knows that because of his new computer in my head thing, I guess. We are prompted to hold the aim down sights button to look at a critical event. This is called Quick Reaction and awards more skill points the faster we start and the longer we keep looking. Sometimes it is convincing, others it's just dumb, like this one. Wow, a gate. What a critical event happening. Ishi says he has mapped the complex and found us a way out, which is down into the mine. Buddy, if you're just looking for a way out, there's one where you came from.
We have no other options.
Okay then, let's get the elevator down into our deaths. In the cave, after a water slide, we get to, how do we explain that? We make our way through some douchebags until we reach a storage room with some kind of flying vehicles, except they're not flying now.
Destroy everything. Leave these savages no means to give chase.
And so we do, but exploding a few heads is also in the menu. Suddenly, the big door opens and now they're flying. These things are called vultures, and the best way to deal with them is to leash them. We have to pull them again at the right time and the pilot will come flying in our direction for a kiss. Despite catching an elevator down into this place, we're still high up on the side of the mountain. Here, we finally unlocked a charge shot for our Peacemaker carbine, which honestly is the second best charged shot in the whole game. Watch.
Trash!
See? From here, it's a wave filled with regular guys and vultures until we get to a grind wheel of sorts. And a little further on, we're greeted by a turret gunner. No biggie, just another dog on our leash. Using the minigun to take down the vultures is pretty satisfactory. Ishii is not feeling so well, so we do the heavy lifting for him until he recharges. After that, we face a bulky guy with a minigun that we have to shoot in the back or stun him with a charge shot and then leash his helmet off. And apparently the game calls this a boss? Nah, might be just a joke. After destroying the resistance with his dropped minigun, we get to the fun part. Oh boy, this section. This is, for me, the most memorable moment in this whole game. We have an infinite minigun, multiple vehicles coming after us, vultures, a bomber called a Banshee, and that fucking grind wheel never leaves our trail. It's ridiculous, but so amusing. Eventually, we have to shoot these enemies' tanks to kick the grind wheel off our trail, just for it to come back with a sound cue that is equal parts menacing and comic. So dramatic. It gets funnier every time we hear that. Sadly, nobody checked the brakes before getting on this train, so we crash and remain alive only by the grace of video game logic.
Ishii, you okay?
Alive.
I didn't know my ass cheeks had bones that could be broken.
Now we're closer to sea level and this place looks pretty nice. What's even more nice is that we get our second weapon from a new enemy type here. Meet the Screamer, my favorite weapon in Bulletstorm. What can I say? I'm a sucker for hand cannons. This thing packs a punch, is very accurate, and has an amazing charge shot that we will unlock later. The only downside is the very limited ammo. After a few vultures, we get into another cave, a very big one this time. Skeletons of dead something lie around here, hinting at something we might regret meeting later. And Gray, being the idiot that he is, decides to break all of these giant eggs. Well, their mom is not happy. With less than 2 minutes to get the hell out, we have to run. But we can only fail this escape if we're really dumb, cause there's plenty of time. We get on a vulture ourselves, but it's too heavy, and the rest is easier to show than to explain.
One's down yonder.
You're about to see for yourself. We're too heavy. This vulture's going down.
Ah, don't tell me that shit! Got a giant cloud of impending doom right behind us!
Great, the train's leaking fuel. Shoot it!
Yeah, got it! Big Mama Bad Britches is off our ass!
I'm glad to hear it, because we are going down.
No!
All right, Let it out.
I'm fine.
And I don't think so. Who knows what the water did to your sutures or the robotic shit.
I'm fine.
All right. Take it down a notch.
Ishi gets pissed off and the AI manifests again, but we move on. Next, we get to a big city and this place looks amazing from up here. We also unlock the charged shot for the Screamer, which sends a mini rocket at the enemy, transforming them into fireworks. We're closer to the signal that brought us here, so we pick up the pace. We fight our way through the streets and find a bar. Despite Ishi protesting against it, we can either drink the bottles or break them. I never managed to find every bottle, but it's fun trying to shoot straight while Grayson is drunk. In this area, we are confronted with individuals carrying bombs on their bodies. You get the drill. We have to shoot them before they get close, or the damage they do to us is devastating. Ishi comments on our good job and that it reminds him of a good soldier he once knew. Gray says he never stopped being that soldier, and Ishi responds that Gray was too drunk to know what he was. Just a little interaction that builds their relationship a bit more. After defeating the bomb guys, we unlock their weapon, the flail gun, at the drop kit. I almost never used this weapon. Even though it's very strong, it's awkward to fire as we have to pull the trigger once to fire the bomb and again to detonate, and that's not very fast. Another thing we unlock here is the Thumper. This is an AoE for the leash that sends every enemy around us flying in slow motion, useful for when we're surrounded and need a breather. Ishi says our target looks to be a capable soldier as she's left a trail of death after her, and then we meet her right outside, defending herself against a horde of enemies.
Hey! Identify yourself or I will open fire!
Oh, listen, lady, please. We've been stuck here forever. Help us get an evac off-world.
Yeah? Go fuck yourself! You shitpiles give chase, I will kill your dicks!
What? What does that even mean? You're gonna kill my dick? Well, I'll kill your dick. How about that, huh?
Speaking of dick-killing parties.
Oh, this game never ceases to amuse me. After a few more bombers and destruction hobbies, we get into a dino's mouth, an amusement park called the Terror Dome. There's a miniature sci-fi city with lights and electricity all over, and dino mechas posing for the kids. Before we get to that though, somehow a new weapon just showed up in the drop kit, despite never having found it before. And that happened in both my playthroughs, so I guess it's by design? Now, if you've played your share of first-person shooters, especially the boomer shooters, you know that there's no such thing as too many barrels when it comes to shotguns. And that's exactly what we get here, a ridiculous 4-barreled shotgun called the Bone Duster, and my second favorite weapon in the game. In this area, we can blast enemies off at the walls of the miniature buildings to shock them, and that's so satisfactory. This section is very fun, and the setting is 80% of the reason, a very different environment for a change. After facing many shotgun wielders, we go underground to escape a dino mecha coming our way. Gosh, these developers love an underground stroll. Okay, hear me out. Remember how I said that almost no environment or level look alike? Well, there is one exception, and it's the underground sections. Caves and mines and all of that. So, what can we do about it? On the other side, we keep making the most out of our Bone Duster until the dino shows up again. Ishi opens a side door to us and we escape into a room filled with goons. The place starts falling apart as we fight, presumably because the dino is wreaking havoc. And then this happens.
Hope you had fun. Looky look, Papa got himself a genuine robot controller.
My god, this is gonna be disastrous. Grayson, with a toy like that, what do you expect? If you thought about chaos and destruction, you're damn right. Not gonna lie, once again, the game gives us a very cool section in which we get to blast things off with a giant dino with laser guns for eyes. It can be a little annoying to control sometimes, but the chaos spectacle makes up for it. I told you that this game is all about the spectacle, didn't I? After blasting a bridge and a few vultures, though, we make the dino plunge into its death to open a gate. It never lasts when it's good, eh? Once again, we're going down a hole. Seriously, how many holes do you have? This one, though, is much more dangerous than the previous underground segments. All the men we just murdered were protecting this hole, apparently because they didn't like what came out of it. We see graffitis on the walls and the whole place is crumbling. Something runs by on the other side of a barred hallway. The game starts building up a tense vibe, or at least trying to. Suddenly, the place starts to fall apart quickly, and here we find a timed event we can actually fail if we take too long to respond. After the water slide, we get out to a completely different place and damn.
Need to get some pads for my ass. Old gal wasn't built for that much abuse.
I'm not interested in quantifying how much abuse your ass is built for. Get moving.
Noted. The dam area is beautiful indeed, but what was all that creepy stuff in the cave for? Well, we'll soon find out. We intercept a signal from the gal we met before, and she says this dam is swarming with locals. Also, she calls all other units to converge on Serrano's location. A jump ship might be on its way. We need that gal alive to lead us to it. Ishii comments on how the AI on his head is constantly seeking control, and Gray tells him to hold it off, just keep it together. Hang on there, buddy. In the elevator, we get a nice view and a little bit of bromance.
You wanna make out? Just two gruff, military-hardened dudes sitting in an elevator, snuggling out their woes in a totally hetero way.
Huh.
Ah, that's a nervous chuckle. Either your human side gets the joke, or your computer side likes the way I look in these pants.
Or a little of both, perhaps.
Aw, and more creepy stuff after we finally meet the locals. These are mutants as pointed by Ishii's readings. They are too fast for the leash, so we have to resort to our guns instead. They can also dodge kicks, but not slide kicks, as the game teaches us with a slow motion opportunity. We can also make use of explosives along the way, and then a sniper shows up. Guess what happens next? Yeah, of course we pick it up and start using it ourselves. The sniper works differently from any other game I've played though. It only fires properly when locked on a target, and when we fire, we control the bullet and can make some insane curves with it. There's even a skill shot for killing an enemy with a sniper bullet to the crotch, but I never managed to do that. The charge shot for this weapon lets us move the body of the enemy after it's dead and detonated, but I don't think I've ever used it. It's kinda not useful at all. We get to a dock filled with death and proceed outside, where we get more chances to use our new toy. And then some close encounters too. After that, our gal is getting overwhelmed. As we need her alive, we gotta get to the rescue, so here we go. We fight through hordes of these savage mutants until we are officially introduced to the best character in this game.
You are full up of nothing, punk! Steal all my stuff! I you piece of shit! Hope it was worth the wait.
Wow, nicely done.
Yeah? Fuck you!
You gotta love Trishka from the get-go. There's a little tension, but we make a deal with her. We help her get to the evac point, and she gets us a place on that jump ship. Trishka is my favorite character in Bulletstorm. She's such a badass. She doesn't let any sexist male tell her left from right. She's the ruler of her own world. She's the driver in her life. She's not taking any repos. You got it. We see some more creepy corpses stuck in the wall, and Trishka tells us these savages are the creeps. Ha! Figures. And they're at war with the first enemy faction we encountered in the game, the Skulls. We're now on top of the dam, and the only way out is across it. Loads of skulls come at us on the way, and the creeps soon follow. At this point in the game, we already have a nice arsenal at our disposal, so it's no big deal taking them out in various ways. On the other side, we go through a crumbling hole, and Trishka knows who Grayson is, despite he never having told her his name. She says he is what she was trying to avoid. We're now on the side of the dam, and skulls attack us on metal platforms. This part is nice because we get to kick a lot of them off the edge. We soon reach the wheels of the dam, and this is an intense moment. The reduced visuals and the chaos created by the water makes everything better. Gray starts to leash components off in order to open our way, but that ultimately causes the destruction of the wheels. The whole dam starts to fall apart, and we have to jump to get the hell out of there. We land on a platform and vultures still come at us, but the dam soon takes everything out with a huge wave, including us. We wash upon the deck in the city and everyone is just fine. No time for drama. Trishka says this area is named the Forbidden Zone and asks us not to make any loud noises as to not alert the enemies that are lurking just outside of you. And Grayson being Grayson, you know what he does. It doesn't take long for creeps to find us after all, but we also find these strange plant balls, so we can throw our balls to their face and while they're choking on it, they can't say shit. Further ahead, we have to navigate yet another crumbling building that we just helped to destroy. On the other side, we find a giant hungry plant that eats anything that comes close to it, so we either stay out of its way or shoot it until it's dead. Snipers try to kill us, but thankfully, we also have a sniper equipped, so it's no problem. Anyway, who wants more balls? We get through a bit more of the skulls and also take care of a big guy here and... How amusing. We then go inside the sewers, where another type of plant ball is waiting to be shot, except this one poisons us and makes us turn on each other due to...
psychotropic dissociatives inside those things. Man, it causes pugnacious hallucinations.
Say that again, please?
Pugnacious hallucinations.
Thank you. So we have to be careful. We have also picked up a new weapon, the Bouncer. This one is very powerful but very difficult to aim, so I ended up not using it a lot. It fires bombs that bounce around and detonate. We can use the spores here to make the skulls kill each other. Nice. Ishi opens the gate for us from the other side and then... My God! So now we have to track his signal and rescue him. In this level, we can make use of the plants to defeat the skulls, and it's very funny kicking them into cactus and carnivore tulips. And also the
Pugnacious hallucinations.
balls. By the way, these green guys also deal a small AoE damage when we blow them up. And then we get to the only real boss fight in the game. Yeah, sorry to break it up to you, but this is actually the only time we're gonna fight a real boss. This thing is huge. The music is intense. Plant fluids are everywhere. It's a mess, but it's a damn incredible mess. We can slide infinitely in this arena, which makes our job just a tit easier, but avoiding these roots is not a simple task. Plus, this mutant nasty tree is a bullet sponge, and it also restores itself to full health in phase 2. It takes almost all our resources, even with the ammo lying around the arena. Charged shot after charged shot. A lot of moving around, a lot of shooting increasingly more disgusting plant parts that I'm not even gonna try to name. Seriously, why do I feel so embarrassed, like I'm watching plant porn or something? What the hell is that? Finally, all that's left is its neck. We watch our backs while shooting, and finally, we commit a planticide and save Ishii.
Come on, sister. We're going after him.
What is that stench?
Ishii landed in plant poop. Oh, hey, make sure you get behind your ears, Stinky. Scrub it up.
Would you like to take a turn in that pile? Keep it up.
Ooh, a threat. Guess that's as close to a thank you as I'm gonna get, huh?
This next section is just another crumbling building. Yeah, okay, so I guess besides the caves and tunnels and everything, this game also has a lot of crumbling buildings. Dozens of skulls walk into their deaths at our leash, and then we call an elevator. After some more carnage, the building starts to fall, for real this time, and we have to skedaddle. An elevator was taking a nap nearby, so we just get inside and Grayson shoots some tanks. The explosion grants us a trip across the city. Did anyone get hurt? Of course not. I think you know how this game operates by now. More skulls are on our way, and we have to get to the monorail in order to reach Serrano, so we clear the area and get inside. Trishka says her squad was on a mission in this place. Assess the situation, find a safe zone, control the threats. They managed to lock away some skulls and creeps, but she also says they're far from the worst things down here. She mentions the burnouts, fully mutated enemies, and that we'll know when we see one. And this being Bulletstorm, the mystery lasts for about 20 seconds. These are the burnouts, and we're gonna face them real soon. They start banging our ride and drop us and immediately come after us. We gotta aim at the glowing blobs in order to kill them or they won't die. Thankfully, that's not the only way. This tiny arena we're in is claustrophobic for a fight against such an aggressive and fast enemy, but we managed to survive. After that's done, we unlock the charge shot for the flail gun. It now fires a flail that cuts enemies in half. That's cool as fuck. Unfortunately, the ammo for this weapon is very limited, so it's not really worth using that much, even if the charge shot is pretty cool. But don't worry, this is not our very best charge shot yet. After taking down a lot of those burnouts, a chopper comes crashing down, and we take this chance to underworld some burnouts in it. At the end, a massive mutant climbs the bridge, but a single charge shot sends him flying into the propeller. I thought this was gonna be harder. A little further, we finally get our sights on our destination across the buildings. Serrano is holding his own against the skulls, so we gotta act fast. If he dies, the jump ship will be cancelled. We kill some creeps on the way. Man, this line sounds bad out of context. And then a cutscene plays out. Trishka falls through a wooden plank on the floor, and when Grayson asks Ishii to help him down, he refuses, saying they do not need her anymore. Grayson doesn't want to leave her behind though, and questions Ishii's sense of morality. Ishii says that things have changed, and Gray says he's letting the AI take over, but Gray has had enough of that, and tells Ishii to go. Ishii then tells him that Serrano is under his protection, and if Grayson tries to kill him, he will deal with Ishii later. This last part was totally out of context for that talk, and it's a moment of bad writing, as this was done purely to instigate what happens next. Grayson jumps down after Trishka, and then this plays out.
Come on, girl, don't check out now.
You really need a breath mint. I heard what you said. All of this. You caused all of this to settle some score with Serrano?
After all he's done, hell yeah, I'd do anything to kill that festering pile of shit.
Why?
Blood on his hands. More blood than you'd believe.
Coming from you. Your band of scumbags murdered children!
That's what Serrano told you.
So, what? I'm supposed to take the word of a mutineer pirate?
You know why Dead Echo abandoned Serrano? Serrano tried to use us to do some ugly shit. Tried to use us to murder civilians, political rivals, reporters, witnesses.
What did you say? Reporters? You're saying Serrano killed reporters?
Yeah, at least one I know of. Guy named Novak.
Bullshit! How would you know that?
Novak? Why, do you know him?
My father was killed by separatists! The entire goddamn reason I joined the Corps was to root out the separatist sons of bitches who assassinated him. If you know who did it, if you know who carried out the hit, tell me right fucking now!
I don't know who did the work, but Serrano ordered it.
You're a goddamn liar!
How else would I know the name Novak, huh? We uncovered all Serrano's files. Your old man. He was one of the reasons we split from Serrano.
Oh boy, the drama finally catching up to us in this game. So Grayson straight up lies and...
If you're lying, I'll tear your fucking throat out. If you are lying, I swear to God, I will kill you. Slowly, painfully. You will wish you died in that crash.
I can't wait to see how this turns out. Well, remember this girl, the one outside Novak's office at the start of the game? This is Trishka. It's been 10 years since that, and the world does go round. Now it's only Gray and Trishka. We follow the stairs down the building but end up falling to the bottom. Burnouts are all around us, just out of reach. We come into a room with an acid pool in the middle and another big guy comes in. Just as before, a single charged shot from our screamer makes him trip and fall right into the acid. Another great opportunity for a good boss fight wasted. We find our way out of the building and into some skulls. After dealing with them, we finally unlock the charge shot for the Bone Duster. This is the best charge shot in the game, as it obliterates anything in its path within a wide cone. Watch.
What is wrong with this planet? These things just keep coming!
See? When we get to the street, something is causing trouble behind the buildings, and we deal with the burnouts to keep going. Apparently, it's something huge. And soon, we find out that it's the mother of all those unborn babies we've killed in the cave way back. We narrowly escape it for now, and the music here is just incredible. When we exit the elevator, Ishii is there and also is a Banshee. We get in and Trishka pilots it as we shoot everything on our path. This part is so much fun. The same music from before keeps going on and that giant monster comes after us. We have to deal with countless enemies on the top of the building before starting to fire at the ugly giant. You could argue that this is in itself a boss fight, but I don't see a big health bar, so for me it's just a glorified scripted shootout on a chopper. We eventually take down the thing and Serrano is fending off the skulls until he runs out of ammo. Ishii comes to the rescue though and Serrano activates the auto-destruction for his pod, killing the big guy when it comes close. And now we get face to face with
General Fuckhead.
Awful damn kind of you to aid Trishka in my rescue. Trishka, please show this mutinous pile of excrement our appreciation.
Seriously, this guy is disgusting.
Did you kill my father?
I know fuck all about your father. Grayson here. He's manipulated you.
Tell her the truth.
Put the gun down.
You're kidding me.
I am not. Your righteous indignation has cost me enough. Serrano will have an evac jump ship coming for him. I will be on board, as you promised me.
Looks like I got a new best friend.
All right, Ishii. Promise is a promise.
I am wholly uninterested in whatever bullshit you people have to resolve. If either of you had a hand in the death of my father, I'll die happy knowing I took you both with me.
Okay. I see we're all a bit upset. I see that. But friends, we got bigger fish to fry right now. The corporation that built this putrid mistake resort has commissioned me, at great cost, to detonate a DNA bomb that will dissolve all life, while leaving the city perfectly intact, allowing said corporation to come in and rebuild.
Maybe not the best time to bore us with your mission deets.
Well now, hold your dick for 1 second, you fungal rim job. This DNA bomb is set to detonate in 2 hours. My rescue squad won't arrive with a jump ship for 3 hours. Now, can you half-wits do the math and see the problem we face?
He's telling the truth.
No! Son of a bitch!
At this point, if I was Gray, I'd have already put a bullet between this guy's eyes. Fuck the jump ship. I hate this fucker so much. He said he did that to prevent her discovering that it was Gray who murdered her dad, but I don't believe him for a second. Well, now we're stuck with him. The new objective is to find Ulysses and deactivate said bomb before it goes out. We once again head down towards some worker entrances that are underground. The path to get there is long. This building is destroyed with whole walls missing, and a huge storm of some kind has suddenly broken out. We can use it to shock the enemies with our leash or kick them into it. We also get the charged shot for the bouncer here. It makes a single projectile detonate multiple times every time it touches the ground. Very cool to watch, but not very efficient. There's a lot of skulls here and it's a blast killing them in this environment. Good level. Eventually, we find our final weapon, the Penetrator. What a name. It fires pyro torpedoes that pin enemies to the walls. It's super strong for a single target, but like all other strong weapons, it has limited ammo. I still tried using it for the final encounter in this area with mixed results. Serrano is insufferable all the time, constantly provoking Gray and Ishii, and that's the only thing that makes this level annoying to deal with. At the end of the building, we face a gauntlet of numerous skulls of various types. There's also multiple ways to use the environment to take them down, and we have just come out of a drop kit, so we're full on ammo. I still died though, cause they're a bit overwhelming here. I then changed my weapon to the Bone Duster and was more successful this time. This charge shot just melts everything away. After this encounter, we take the elevator down to the garage and one more into a penitentiary, a huge one. Turns out this place is filled with convicts underground. Well, this is gonna be chill. This level is filled with radiation and we have to cross a river of chemicals as fast as we can. On the other side, a close quarters encounter with the burnouts awaits us. This game is starting to get more and more difficult as we approach the end. Melting away the burnouts, we see a bug-like creature climbing the walls. These are gonna have their moment soon. More burnouts first though, and then the general gets a little bit of what he deserves as a burnout throws him off the edge. After finding a way through, we see a cutscene where Gray admits his rage towards Serrano, and Ishii says he could have killed him as he had his chances. But Grayson says he gotta get Ishii out of this hell. And then, one of the most important dialogues happen. I'll let it play out, cause it's totally worth it.
Those many years ago, after we discovered the truth about Serrano, we could have disappeared into the outer quads, hidden and been safe.
But I dragged you all to the far reaches of the Dark Plains hunting the good general. Yeah, I know, Ishii.
I don't think you do. Your thirst to murder Serrano for his crimes was never about revenge. It was a righteous mission to avenge the many innocents he used us to kill. You led us on a quest for atonement, a chance to reclaim our souls. I always knew I would likely die for this pursuit.
You think too highly of my motives.
No matter what happens, no matter what I say as I lose possession of my mind, know this. You are my brother. I followed you of free will, and I do not hold you accountable.
Keep this cutscene in mind. Ishii and Gray vow to kill the son of a bitch once they're out of this planet. We face some snipers before reuniting with the fuckhead and moving on. From here onwards, Serrano starts accusing Gray of murdering his soldiers, people who had family and friends, trying to get to him at all costs. A little further on, we face the bugs and their blood is so radioactive it melts through rock. We get on an elevator and several of these bugs start running upwards on it. If too many of them get to the engines, we fall down and die. So we have to keep a fast hand here. At the top, we have to run for our lives as everything blows up behind us. And then we finally get to the outside and the Ulysses is right there. A zip line across and we're right underneath it. Going through a building, we take on multiple enemies as it collapses. Gosh, this game loves a collapsing building. But we finally make it into the Ulysses. And of course, there are burnouts here too. This chamber has intact escape pods, and we could use them to, well, escape. But first, we gotta deactivate that bomb. There's a section in which we cannot shoot our guns as the air is filled with highly flammable fumes, so only kick and leash here. The turbines on the ground also help. We have to avoid electromagnetic force fields just ahead, and then the fumes are gone and we can fire again. This kind of gimmick can make things more interesting, but it's a shame it's been so underused in this game. Another good idea with but one execution. Then, in a narrow corridor, we have one more of those giant things. This time, in addition to stunning it with a charge shot, we gotta leash the generator above its head. Once done, we get into the engine room and for the surprise of no one, Serrano tricks us. Turns out, the bomb was not even armed yet, but we just did that right now. Ishii thinks there's no way out, but we are the protagonists, so we do find a way. And the way has a name, Trishka. Deus Ex Machina doing its job. Funny how the game even addresses it. Like, we don't care if you accuse us of lack of creativity. We're tired, let's do a Deus Ex Machina and go home. Trishka gets us out of the Ulysses and it doesn't explode. Well, time for the final stretch of the game and oh boy, things finally get hairy. As always, everything begins with a crumbling building. We get an elevator down to the street level and are immediately met with creeps and skulls. We're in the middle of their war now. Total chaos all over. The fighting here is intense and it's only gonna get more so. We unlock the last charge shot of the game for the penetrator. It lets us redirect the target to any other surface after impact. Not very useful, so I didn't use it more than once or twice to test it. We cross the city building by building, hall by hall, and all types of enemies are everywhere. It's a really wild moment, and I expected nothing less from a game like Bulletstorm. There's this cool moment right here that shows how Ishii has grown towards his companions.
Let's web out! I'll go low, you guard high. No surprises that way.
I will assist.
I don't
I
need...
owe you my life. Allow me to fight with you.
I just thought that was cute. While they are progressing on the lower floor, we provide support and move on, and upon reuniting with them comes the most difficult encounter in the whole game. We're in a small room with few places to hide for cover, countless calls, including minigun brutes and a bomber brute. Even Trishka remarks how
That was too damn close for comfort.
we have little room to move around, so instead we have to make the most of our abilities here. The charge shot from the Bone Duster takes care of a lot of things, but it's not infinite. There's a few explosives we can kick and a very narrow platform upstairs. I'm gonna be honest, I could have made my life much easier by using the thumper here, but I never remembered to use it throughout the game, and I'm not very good at strategizing while I'm being shot at from all directions. So the first time I thought about the thumper in this section was, well, now, while writing the script. We get it on the second try, though I've almost died numerous times. Whew, that was intense. Up ahead, we see the jump ship flying overhead and have to get there before it departs in under 2 minutes. This section was probably supposed to be much more difficult than it actually is, as 2 minutes is way more than we need. The thrill is the same though, cause we don't know that. So I try to get through the skulls as fast as possible, using the Bone Duster and a lot of slide kicks. When we get close to the ship, the clock disappears and no matter how much time we had before, we now have 12 seconds to get there and reach the ramp. And suddenly we're inside. Welcome to the last level in the game, and in here we're introduced to the last enemy faction, the Heavy Echo, Serrano's top troopers.
Heavy Echo shock troopers, Serrano's secret army.
Whew, tough motherfuckers. I'll give them that.
Thank you.
Thank me?
I helped design them.
For a moment, I wish you had died in the prologue. These guys are no joke. They have super armor, which makes them take much more fire to kill. They also hit like a truck. Even the basic ones are a huge threat. The layout of the ship also doesn't help. Narrow corridors and doorways. Ishii and Trishka get in the way a lot, and there's always too many troops for comfort. But no worries, we can... Gosh. Serrano picks on us through comms and Trishka gets through a vent promising to open the door for us on the other side. Of course, that's a lie. She's trying to get to Serrano alone, so Ishii does his thing.
You should see yourself when you do that. You look like a damn goof.
And we pursue her. There's a lot more Heavy Echo troopers on our way though, and we ejaculate some of them. I can't believe I'm saying that. I died a lot here. These fuckers even use minigun turrets against us. In the last room, we have to first invade and then defend our position until Ishii opens up the door. And this is the very last encounter of the game. For a last encounter though, it's a little underwhelming. You know what would be cool as a last encounter? A boss fight like the porn plant, or a moving section like the grind wheel. But it is what it is. Ishii opens the door and triggers the final showdown against Serrano. Trishka has Serrano at point blank range, and then he chooses to tell her that Grayson and his squad, the Dead Echo, were responsible for the murder of her father. But something really funny happens here.
You...
Okay, so this is a bug. I've had this bug in both my playthroughs, both on normal and hard mode. So I guess I was just unlucky. Thankfully, this is a wonderful opportunity for you guys to witness my wondrous voice acting skills. So here we go.
You?
Whoa, okay. You got every right to kill me. So long as you know Serrano used us. Used us all. Lied about the targets. That's why we went rogue. Why I attacked the Ulysses. I thought by killing Serrano I couldn't do it. Maybe find some redemption. All I did was get my friends killed.
Stop this! Fake! This is what Serrano wants. He is manipulating you.
My manipulating hasn't even begun.
Run! I'm not in control of myself.
That's right. That would be me.
Stellar performance, don't you think? So Serrano forces Ishi to try to kill us, and we have to mash a button to resist. But then Grayson activates a cheat code with a single sentence and everything changes.
You can break control. You can beat the AI.
I cannot stop it. Do not make me do this.
I don't hold you accountable.
All right, Gray.
Wait, is that it? Was it that easy? Oh well. That makes Ishi's clock tick and he gains control over himself again. He starts fighting Serrano and drops a gun close to us. Serrano kicks it away and is about to shoot us, but Ishi gets in front of him, giving his life for us rather unceremoniously. I like how this game creates parallels between what happened at the prologue and what happens at the end. Back then, Grayson took a bullet for Ishi, and now Ishi took a bullet for us. Also, there's the I do not hold you accountable thing. When the general tries to shoot us again, he's out of ammo and grabs us with his leash instead. Finally, we end up kicking a barrel in his face and then leash an explosive close to him, then finally kick him in a spiky wall. We save Trishka and she forgives us right away because the game has no time for more drama. Heavy Echo catches up to us though, and while we're distracted, the almost dead Serrano ejaculates us. We land nearby and Gray briefly mourns how he's got his last friend killed. Did I say the last room filled with troopers was the last encounter? Yeah, I forgot this very short, true last encounter. We have to get back to the Ulysses while killing the troopers in our way, and there is still an escape pod in the chamber we saw before. When we get inside the ship, that bomb we were tricked into arming is finally going off under 50 seconds, but we managed to get to the capsule before the explosion. And man, that explosion really obliterates everything on the face of this planet. I gotta admit, I thought that was just Serrano's bullshit. But it was true after all. A gigantic nuclear bomb decimates all life, and we watch from outer space as everything is destroyed.
Woo! Gotta say, surprised to be breathing right now. That was a shitty time.
Left every friend I had down there. And you got every reason in the world to want me dead, Trishka.
I'm your friend, Gray. You're absolved, Hunt. Like I said, I know what Serrano did. I got to see him for the twisted-up psychopath he is.
Look, I'm not saying that Trishka should hold an everlasting grudge against Gray for killing her father. However, that change happened way too fast. In just a few lines of dialogue, everything is settled. After the credits, we get a black screen where Serrano is alive and annoying as always. He's got issue with him and tries to bring him back to life under his control. And everything finishes with a classic one-liner.
Hey there. How you feeling, sushi dick? You see God while you were gone?
God is dead.
Now, that's the end of the campaign. After which we can play the Overkill mode, which allows us to carry every single weapon at the same time. And if we unlocked all skill shots for a certain weapon, we have infinite ammo for it. But I had enough Bulletstorm already. Bulletstorm was supposed to have a sequel, but Epic assigned People Can Fly to work on Gears of War Judgment instead at the time. Later, PCF became independent and retained the rights to the Bulletstorm IP, but they never really made a sequel. Probably because Gray and Trishka are still stranded in space to this day. I mean, how do you get out of this when you can't even steer the thing and with limited air supply? I guess the next game, if it ever comes, will surely begin with another Deus Ex Machina. There's a few things I want to talk about before ending this video. First, as I've said multiple times, the lack of boss fights in this game is a straight up crime. We should at the very least have had a true showdown against the general at the end, but not even that. I don't know if development was rushed at some point, I don't know if the devs had to cut things short, but it sure does look like it. I refuse to believe that this was a deliberate choice. For such an awesome game to have such a disappointing ending, it really let me down. Then there's the pacing factor. This game is intense, and the pacing is fast. It is supposed to be like that, but it creates a huge problem. There's no real reason to use every single gun in the game. Most people will just stick to their favorites. Also, there's not enough time to explore every skill shot. Everything happens so fast that it becomes a blur at a certain point, and you just keep going for the sake of shooting bad guys in the face. These are my two top complaints about Bulletstorm. Now, to give credit where credit is due. As I've said in the beginning of this video, this game is all about the spectacle, and when it wants to put up a show, it really does. The grind wheel, the dino, the dam, the porn plant, the chopper Godzilla, those are all memorable moments that will most probably stick with you long after you finish the game. The shooting is also good, solid, not sloppy and rewarding. The leash is my new favorite sex toy because of this game. Jokes aside, it was a real cool mechanic that changed everything, and Bulletstorm would not be nearly as good without it. As for the environment interactions, they are all fun. There's not a single one I've found that I didn't like. It is always amusing killing enemies with spiky walls or hungry plants. And that's not even mentioning the propellers. Oh, the propellers. There's a lot of things to like about this game, despite its flaws, and if you can get past the fact that it is trying way too hard to bolster a fragile masculinity, a male-centric spectacle, you have a good time. Even if sometimes it does make you roll your eyes back so far you can see your neurons dying. I totally recommend Bulletstorm just for the fact that it is fun. It is fun to play, and at the end of the day, that's what we want as gamers, to have fun. If you got all the way here, I sincerely hope you have an amazing day. Not the others, fuck those bastards. You're the real ones, the GOAT. So type pugnacious hallucinations in the comments so I can love you more than everyone else. Please consider giving this video a like. This was my first video and I already have so much more prepped for the near future. So subscribe and ring the goddamn bell so you won't miss any content. Also, if you wanna see me cover any specific game, leave it in the comments. I promise to read every single comment, and who knows, maybe your suggestion becomes the next video. Thanks again for watching the Single Player Guy. I'll see you soon. Peace!